It was just another day at the office. The steady tapping of keyboards, the soft chatter of co-workers, and the occasional hum of the printer. My desk had turned into a sort of gathering spot. People would come by to chat about work, the weather, or just life in general. Sometimes strangers would wander in, striking up conversations about the most random things. I didn't mind at all. In fact, I kind of enjoyed it. Maybe I was just an easy person to talk to, or maybe my desk had become a little escape for anyone who needed a break from their day. And so I carry that lesson with me as I move forward. I will never settle for less than I deserve. My happiness is mine to protect. My heart is mine to guard. No matter what happens, I will always choose myself first, and in that choice I am free. He seemed to hesitate for a moment, as though preparing to say something else, but I gently stopped him with a soft smile. And I like being single. It's better for me right now, I added, not wanting him to say something that would make me feel uncomfortable. I didn't want to explain my personal life to him, or anyone, really. For the most part, being single didn't bother me. Sure, there were moments when I felt the absence of a partner, especially when I looked around and saw how many of my colleagues were married or in relationships. But it wasn't something I minded too much. It felt like the right time for me to be focused on myself, my work, my own growth. Relationships, I'd decided, were better left to those who had time to invest in them, and right then I didn't. A few weeks after that encounter, another name started to appear more often in my thoughts. Alex. Alex was someone I had known for a little over a year. He was the kind of person who could make you laugh without even trying. He was charismatic, with a warmth that could light up a room, but it wasn't just his charm that caught my attention. It was his authenticity. When we spoke, it felt like he was truly listening, like every word I said mattered to him, and that was rare. In the world of fleeting conversations and small talk, Alex made me feel heard. We spoke often at work. Most of the time, it was light-hearted banter, a joke here, a shared laughter there. But sometimes we would delve deeper into conversations, and it was during one of those conversations that I learned something about Alex that I would never forget. One day, we were sitting in the break room, enjoying a quiet moment, when Alex casually mentioned something that made me stop mid-sentence. "I'm not great at staying loyal," he said, as though it was the most casual statement in the world. I blinked at him, unsure I had heard him correctly. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice filled with surprise. He shrugged, as if it didn't matter much. "I don't know. When I'm with someone, I always find myself talking to other women. I can't seem to help it." His words hit me like a slap in the face. They were jarring, unexpected. I felt a sudden weight in my chest, a mixture of disbelief and confusion. He couldn't be serious, could he? Was he really telling me so casually that he struggled with being faithful? My mind raced, searching for a response. I wasn't sure what to say, so I remained silent, listening to him continue. He talked about his past relationships, about how his inability to stay loyal had caused damage. Yet he seemed unfazed by it all. "It's just who I am," he said. At that moment, I felt a tightness in my throat. It wasn't pity I felt for him, it was disappointment. How could someone speak about loyalty so flippantly? I had never understood that mindset. Relationships were about trust, weren't they? About giving someone the kind of respect they deserved, a kind of devotion that came from the heart. But Alex's words made me question everything I had believed about love and commitment. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. Instead, I let the silence hang between us, heavy and awkward. There were 1,000 things I wanted to say to him, to ask him, but I couldn't find the words. Part of me was stunned, part of me was angry, and part of me was simply sad. Over time, our conversations took a different turn. Alex seemed more willing to share about his past, about a relationship he had with an older woman, a mother of 4. He spoke of her with a mix of nostalgia and regret, but as I asked more questions, I noticed something odd. His answers grew evasive, like he was carefully choosing his words, hiding something just beneath the surface. One day, unable to keep my growing suspicions in check, I asked him directly, "Did she leave you because you cheated?" The look on his face said it all. There was a flicker in his eyes, a shift in his expression that confirmed what I already knew. My heart sank into my stomach. I had suspected it, but hearing him admit it made it feel real. And the way he shrugged it off, as though it were no big deal, only deepened the ache in me. I felt a storm of emotions: anger, sadness, confusion. How could he be so indifferent to the pain he caused? And how could he continue his living like this, with no remorse? I felt a fire ignite within me, a sense of justice that pushed me to speak up. I looked him straight in the eye and told him what I thought. Being disloyal is wrong. Hurting the people who trust you is wrong. You can't just walk away from that without consequences. Alex's response was a simple shrug. He didn't argue. He didn't apologize. He didn't even seem to care. The lack of empathy in his response broke something in me. It was then that I realized how much I had underestimated him. He wasn't the charming, funny guy I thought he was. He was someone who had learned how to manipulate people, someone who didn't care about the harm he caused. And still, despite all of it, he continued to play the same game. I eventually learned that Alex had found someone new, a new girlfriend. When I asked him about her, he spoke of her with a kind of detachment, answering with a simple, "Yeah, she is nice." I wanted to ask him more, to know if he truly cared about her, but I stopped myself. I already knew the answer. "Are you going to treat her the same way?" I asked, my voice quiet but firm. He didn't respond with anger. Instead, his expression hardened slightly. almost like he was silently mocking me. His eyes seemed to say, "You are naive to think this could ever be different." But it wasn't his look that hurt the most. It was the realization that he was still the same person. He hadn't changed. Despite everything, despite the damage he had caused, despite the people he had hurt, he was still playing the same game. He was still cheating, still lying, still sneaking around. And that's when I realized that his choices no longer mattered to me. His actions, his lies, his deceit, they no longer had the power to affect me. I had a choice now, a choice that I hadn't fully understood before. I could choose to protect my heart. I could choose to walk away from people like him who didn't deserve a place in my life. I looked at Alex and let the truth sink in. I didn't need him in my life. I didn't need anyone who couldn't offer me respect and honesty. It was better to be single, I realized. Much better. To be alone at peace than to be with someone who didn't value trust, who didn't understand the weight of loyalty. In that moment, I found freedom. I didn't have to settle. I didn't have to choose someone who would betray me, someone who didn't share my values. I trusted myself. I trusted that I was enough. Maybe I would stay single forever. But that thought no longer scared me. It filled me with a quiet confidence. I wasn't afraid of walking through life alone anymore. Looking back now, I don't see Alex as a mistake. I see him as a lesson, a harsh but valuable teacher. He showed me exactly what I would never accept. He taught me the importance of trust, of loyalty, of respect. And in doing so, he reminded me that I deserved nothing less than that. And so I carry that lesson with me as I move forward. I will never settle for less than I deserve. My happiness is mine to protect. My heart is mine to guard. No matter what happens, I will always choose myself first, and in that choice I am free.